released a video today. Welcome to the Advice Show, media with a common sense approach. So, Keith Scott's wife released a video today that showed what happened up until the time that they killed her husband. Now,
stop there right now to say good day to you good people and good day to you bad people, because in the circle of life, what goes around comes around. So you get yours on to come around. Now, right now you looking at the Advice Show, but really, what we is really dealing with is the truth, dealing with WIKILEAKS. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play with both of them in the middle, because it got everything to do with everything that's going on right now as far as everything is concerned. So we are here at WIKILEAKS right after we listen to the Advice Show. So let's roll that beautiful bean.
I want you to look at this clip and let's see if we could shine some new light on what's being talked about.
Don't shoot him. Don't shoot him. He has no weapon. He has no weapon. Don't shoot him. Don't shoot him. Don't shoot him. He didn't do anything. He doesn't have a gun. He has a TBI. He's not going to do anything to you guys. He just took his medicine. Keith, don't let them break the windows. Come on out the car. Keith, don't do it. Keith, get out the car. Keith, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Keith, don't you do it. Did you shoot him? Did you shoot him? Did you shoot him? He better not be fucking dead. He better not be fucking dead. I know that fucking much. I know that much. He better not be dead. I'm not gonna come near you. I'm gonna record though. I'm not coming near you. I'm gonna record though. He better be alive, because I'm coming. You better be alive out of that.
That's a strong woman now. The average soft woman been crying and hollering and everything else.
He better live.
That was one strong woman. She been dealing with your boy for a minute.
Nobody touch your body, so y'all good.
And these dirty ass rabid dog police.
I know he better live. How about that? I'm not coming to you guys, but he better live. He better live. Y'all hear this and you see this, right? He better live. He better live. I swear he better live. Yep. He better live. He better fucking live. He better live. Where is... He better fucking live, and I can't even leave the damn time. I ain't going nowhere. I'm in the same damn spot. The fuck? That's okay. Did y'all call the police? Did y'all call an ambulance?
There also was a video that had an eyewitness that stated that the cop that was identified to be the shooter, Bentley Vinson, that he didn't do it. It was the other police officers. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
The white boy.
Say what I believe, and it's a cover-up. They made a mistake, and they're doing their best to make sure they cover up that mistake. That's what's happening. Do you agree with the officer that you mentioned is the same one that you saw yesterday? No, ma'am. It was not a black officer.
It was a white one. They showed the white officer shooting.
The black officer came on the scene maybe.
See, nowadays the truth is a lie, and the lie is the truth. You can see that just by Bruce Journey going against a woman. I ain't even gonna explain that one. That was not the street fucked up.
I started shooting and I saw that man die. I saw him take his last breath. I saw him move, and then there was nothing more after that.
And he got out of the car with a gun?
No, sir. He got out of the car with a book.
And you saw the book?
I saw the book. I can't tell you what the name of the book was, but it was a black cover.
And so he got out and he was holding it?
No, it was on his lap. He got out, his hands was up. He got out his car.
Yep, and the book fell. And the book fell. And your boy shot him.
So you gotta do all that shit when you get out of the car.
And you said this earlier, but I want to make sure I get it exactly right. scared and said to the officer.
He said, what is the problem? What did I do? What's wrong? And why he's saying that is because they're telling him to come to them. So he's walking to the back of his truck. And he's asking them, what's the problem? What did I do? And they're like stepping over the book and everything. The book that fell off his lap by this time. He's like, what did I do? What's the problem? And when he get back there, the police muffle something because I can't hear. And then if they know, they shoot that man 4 times.
Now, from this video, it's not really clear who shot what. I can't tell. I looked at this video, I slowed it down as slow as possible. I know the thing that I did recognize is that Keith Scott's hands was next to him. He looked like he was just standing there in a daze. But the wife just said that he finished taking his medication. He had gotten a motorcycle accident. That's why she said he had a TBI or traumatic brain injury. So he went to pick up his kid, obviously just being under the influence of some medication. I guess he didn't think much of it. I guess he didn't expect the police to come roll up on him like that. One thing we need to keep recognizing is that the police was not looking for him. You guys are talking about this man like they were looking for him.
No.
They was not looking for him.
Right.
He had no warrant for his arrest.
Nothing. This was
So
an
they went to
innocent
the
man
wrong
killed again.
guy. If anything, out of this whole situation, they're liable for killing a man that had nothing to do with any kind of crime. And we have to all recognize that. Now, this thing is a tragedy.
News gonna put a
People
piece
are
of
rioting
weed on
in
the
the street,
fucking news.
people are upset.
Fuck you, news.
But I
You
want to
bitch
cover
nothing
some
but
people's
bullshit.
comments from the last
TV,
video.
tell lies to your
You know, some
vision.
people
Don't
have an
lie,
issue,
son.
and they sound so silly. They don't realize how silly they sound. When we mentioned the term race soldier. Now, the term race soldier actually came from Neely Fuller Jr. He coined that term. Definitely was not me, and I don't want to act like I created it. Anybody could be a race soldier on the police department. If you have some sort of bias toward black people, are you quicker to kill black people faster than you quicker to kill other people?
But see, when
For
they
instance,
fire your
a
dumb
black
ass, you
race
dumb
soldier would be
black
Sheriff
motherfucker.
Clark. He
See, when they
hates
fire
black
your
people.
dumb ass off the
He wants
police
to make
force,
sure to show
then you gonna
Massa
wanna go
that he
and
can do worse
tell
to us than
on
anybody
what
else.
happened to you
You
by
remember
lying and
black
saying
police
that you
officer,
shot the
boys in
dude and
the
the other
hood,
dude
the one
shot
that hated black people, the one that stuck the gun to the head. You remember, if you watch the movie Straight Outta Compton, how did Ice Cube get the inspiration to make F the Police? It was a
I'm a
black
black
cop
dude, yeah.
that started harassing them.
But
He was doing more harassing.
I stopped this
and
shit because, like I said
doing the
again,
things.
this is the Advise Show. You can go and check out the Advise Show with him, the advisor of his show. But while we getting ready to go into some WikiLeaks, because this is the link that's wicked, and we about to link it up. Because like I said again, what's going on and the news media ain't telling y'all shit about is this war and shit that we close to. And that's some bullshit. If you never thought of it, that is indeed some bull fucking shit. So let's see.
precise, from undoubtedly the most historic election in modern world history. And it's definitely up there, one of the most important elections in all of United States history, all 242 years. It is Monday, the 24th day of October 2016. I'm your host, Alex Jones. We're going to be here for the next 4 hours. We have former Marine Corps officer and naval aviator Joel Skousen joining us in studio to talk about world affairs. He's the editor-in-chief of World Affairs Brief. That's in the second hour, but he's also here to tape a special report for us that'll be a month or two probably in the making, dealing with real preparedness, because you see all these bomb shelter redoubts being built in Hollywood and New York and places like that, New York City, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas. They're a joke. They're a death trap. There's a larger issue, though, of why are the elite taking the money and running to New Zealand and other areas of the world, or to the Caribbean and building armored fortresses? Because if you understand that, you understand the big picture.
Yep, they better make a war.
Exactly what's coming. So all of that is coming up today. Bottom line, the world social engineers believe that the planet's current course is unsustainable. So they have decided to grease the skids towards a controlled demolition of the world economy and culture, the controlled demolition of civilization. So we're not here predicting the fall. We know they're engineering the fall, and we're trying to stop it. That's why everything we talk about basically ends up happening. Not because we predicted it, but because it's part of a global program. Self-driving cars. Told you they try to take all of our cars away, tax by the mile, and enforce us into the self-driving cars 20 years ago, because that was coming out of MIT and the big think tanks. Now it's here. We told you they dissolved the borders, because that's in the TPP. That's in the NAU. That's in the Trans-Pacific and Regional and Atlantic Partnership mergers. We're here chronicling the globalist plan, and they can't have their cake and eat it too. They can't deny there's a world government, deny there's a corporate plan, and all the rest of it, and then come out and promote the world government at the same time. But that's what they're doing. Just like they can't have Obamacare and claim it's free, or you can keep your doctor when it's not. So the chickens are coming home to roost, and people are really now being faced with the reality of what globalism truly stands for. And the fact that Hillary Clinton has gotten more corporate contributions than any other candidate in history. Basically, Trump's gotten zero. And the entire global corrupt power structure is against Trump. What does that tell you? It tells me a lot. And Jill Stein is back in the news, the head of the Green Party, a real liberal, saying, I want to congratulate, she actually excoriates the Democrats for mastering the corporate realm. In fact, I'm looking at drudgereport.com, extremely powerful articles and information. Jill Stein excoriates Dems over mastery of corporate politics. Right above that, professor who predicted last 5 elections says Trump will win by 87%. Now, he has an algorithm. He has a computer. When you go to the New York Times, they've got Hillary basically winning by a number even higher than that. And then they just said that it's some secret formula that they've got. They say Hillary Clinton has a 92% chance to win. Trump has an 8%.
Damn.
And CNN is going with the same headline, that they're now looking past Trump. Okay, he's already lost 2 weeks out. They're totally rigging the election.
Wow, they see this bitch got
And what's frustrating to
92%.
me is they're now up to what? Podesta leak number 16, and guess what's in the new one? It's right above it on drudgereport.com. Podesta email exposes dim playbook for rigging through oversamples, close quote. Now, notice what the last year or so, how I've been telling you Hillary was cheating Bernie Sanders and now Trump with Bloomberg and Reuters and CNN and all the rest of them. How are they doing? Because they tell you in the methodology under it, normally 6-7 pages of methodology, you have to go read, but we've done articles and shown screenshots here pretty much every day for the last year or so. How do they do it? Oversampling. Now, Zero Hedge reports, and of course it says this in the memo from Podesta running the mainstream media of the polls, basically, when they give the orders to CNN, ABC, MSNBC, CBS, they get daily orders. Here's the talking point. That's why you
tune into CBS or NBC or ABC or CNN. It's all the same story in the same order. There's been thousands of those great super clip mashups showing the newscasters saying the same thing in the same order for all 30 minutes of the nightly news. This is what they do. But we have the email, and on average, they oversample 12 points. Now, I've seen them where they sample 50-something points more. They have these whoppers suckers where, oh, look, she's going to win by 76%. Oh, boy, wow, we've got a new ABC News poll where 60-something% are for Hillary. We only sampled 30-something% more Democrats. I mean, whoa. You talk about fraud land, there's always been some fraud. Generally, they would go in and say, oh, independents. They were sampling 20%, let's say. And then turns out 18% are really Democrats. They know that, but they're just saying that they're independents. And that's how they skew. They're not even doing that now. They're not even putting up the pretenses that this isn't total fraud. 2 + 2 = 7.
They don't give a fuck about
I
the
mean,
people.
this is that ridiculous.
They already know that they got
if you
the
sample
people ain't gonna say
47% Democrats and 22% Republicans. This is one Reuters we've shown over and over again. And the rest is independents, so they're mainly Democrats. Well, of course Hillary's winning at 60-something%. You do the math in those polls, she's actually 10, 15 points behind, which is what Trump's internal polling. He's got real pollsters, real polling agencies out there commissioning real private polls, and they show him in places like California, dead heat with Hillary. They show him in Florida, 15 points ahead. They show him in Ohio, beating her so bad, she quit going to Ohio for a while by 10, 15 points. But not in the polls CNN puts out, or Reuters, or Bloomberg. And this is such a scandal. Forget Donald Trump, because nobody's perfect. But just remove it from the equation. The whole power structure, foreign governments, the Pope, every other corrupt institution, the communist Chinese are telling you, you can't have Donald Trump. You can't have Donald Trump. You can't have him. They've rigged everything. They've been caught, turning his microphone off and turning it down and interrupting him 40-something times and 60-something times and her 5 or 6 times. It goes on and on. Total media warfare. Total disdain for the American people. And then meanwhile, new Podesta email exposes playbook for rigging polls through oversamples. As if we need WikiLeaks to know this. This is not the first one about them oversampling. As if we need WikiLeaks to tell us that the head of the DNC was sabotaging Bernie Sanders. Or that the lady she replaced her with, Donna Brazile, was doing the same thing. I mean, we already know. That's the point, is it's completely transparent. So if they stole it from Bernie Sanders, will they steal it from Trump? Absolutely. Are they federalizing it to, quote, keep Trump from stealing it? Yes, but election fraud doesn't exist, but it does exist by Trump. So we've got to put together short informational videos that just show the sampling and just say, dear Democrats, Trump really is ahead 10 points conservatively. And that's why they're in full-scale panic. You think that the owner of Amazon just went in even more money against Trump? You think the owner of Facebook went in even more against Trump? You think Google admits they're all in against Trump, spending billions basically in off-the-books money and advertising on the web? I mean, we've never seen such a concerted worldwide effort because he's a nationalist. They know he's a nationalist, and their sweetheart deals of totally controlling Congress are at least going to be in question if he gets in. And by the way, there's no doubt with the New York Times calling for his death, there's no doubt with all the violence we've heard in the media that they plan to kill him if he does get in. So don't think if Trump gets in, we've got peaches and cream, out in front of us. The fight has just begun, but here it is. Like many of the recent polls from Reuters, ABC, and the Washington Post, the latest poll included a 9-point sampling bias towards registered Democrats, which is a low bias normally. A poll's thrown out if it has any bias. Earlier this morning, we wrote about the obvious sampling bias in the latest ABC Washington Post poll that showed a 12-point national average. By the way, that's the average of what they oversampled. It happened to be 12. Like many of the recent polls, Reuters, ABC, and the Washington Post latest poll included a 9-point sampling bias toward registered Democrats. They admit that. CNN's even worse in their phone system. They admit more than double Democrats they sample. I mean, that is cuckoo. By the way, we're about to go to break, but I want to play this clip first and then come back with Trump talking about this, and then they demonize him. This is just last week. This got no attention. In fact, there's 2 of these clips where you've got focus groups 10 of them are for Trump, 5 are for Hillary, and then you've got 6 that are undecided, and you can bet your bottom dollar they're just embarrassed and are really for Trump. But let's just say it's 10 to 5. That's double. That's double. I know Democrats all over Austin, they say they don't know anyone voting for Hillary. I saw one Hillary sticker this morning. I was looking all weekend in jam-packed traffic for Formula One here. It's like a game with my kids. Where's a Hillary sticker? I saw one. There are Bernie Sanders stickers everywhere. Their signs are still up everywhere. You can't go a half mile without seeing one. No Hillary, unless you go to the most elite rich area, then there's some signs up. It is a hoax. We're going to go to break. I'm going to come back and I'm the first play.
Y'all gonna have a rude awakening.
And boy, they cut the feed just like they cut the satellite. As soon as they go and it's double the Trump supporters, they shut it down. And that's what's happening. We can't find Hillary supporters back during the primaries on the streets anywhere in the U.S. We cannot even find them. So something's going on here. And we know they are massively oversampling Hillary supporters or Democrats, these imaginary people, to say that Trump is losing to create the perception so when they do steal it, there's plausible viability, basically. We'll be back. Stay with us. If we remove Donald Trump out of the equation and just look at the state of the corporate media in this country and their constituents, it is an exercise in criminality. It's an exercise in lockstep disinformation. It's an exercise in the takeover of this country. And the people going along with it are the folks that are going to end up basically losing their prosperity, losing their freedom in the process. So it is a fool's game.
It's a fool's fucking game.
An absolute fool's errand. This whole corrupt system must be overturned. Problem is they're trying to overturn one corrupt system with even more draconian and control. Because at the bottom of all this is an immorality, a corruption. This nation, this world has cancer. And so it's so incredible to have all these WikiLeaks emails and have a new one with Podesta, the head of the campaign for Hillary, telling Democrats how to rig the polls and directing that they were doing it through oversampling. So they go out and they do these polls. The Democrats pay for the polls, but in many cases, the big media outlets are run by Democratic Party operatives and top donors, the top 20 companies on record, lockstep against Trump and the populist movement. And then they have them oversample massively to put Hillary way ahead in some polls, but then they'll only oversample 9, 10, 11, 12 points to have her in a dead heat with him, because that's really how far ahead Trump is. Again, 10 to 15 points is about as accurate as we can get. So here's CNN and the focus group, the people they brought in and basically instructed how to vote, even though they've been caught on tape instructing them to go for Hillary. It backfires every week. This happens every week. Here it is.
Let's ask the group with a show of hands. Did this debate help any of you decide on a candidate? And if so, how many of you have decided now to vote for Hillary Clinton? 5 of you. Okay, how about did this debate help you decide to vote for Donald Trump? 10 of you. All right. 10. What about third party? Gary Johnson or Jill Stein? Did it make you want to vote for any of them? Or undecided? Okay, well, that's what I was going to ask you next. Who is still undecided here? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them still undecided.
So that's 5 for Hillary, 6 undecided. They didn't want Gary Johnson or Jill Stein, and 10 for Trump. But you're not going to see that anywhere. That's what, though, keeps coming out when they do focus groups that they don't fully control after they actually hear Donald Trump speak. Now, that's why we have CNN executives saying we made a big mistake ever letting any of him get on CNN. Stop carrying any of his speeches. First, they carry big chunks because they got top ratings, because he's popular. Then they carry small chunks. Now, they just carry stuff out of context. Here's the next clip. This is, again, CNN saying they're already looking ahead. So they show a clip of Trump saying that he's gaining in polls or that he's even with her or 2 points ahead. And that's him going off some of the less unfair, they're still unfair polls. He's way ahead. Then they cut to, but we're already looking ahead past Trump at what Hillary's going to do. Here it is.
that we are leading nationally by 2 points. Numbers are looking phenomenal in Florida. Don't believe the media.
But a new ABC News national poll shows Trump trailing Clinton by 12 points. CNN has learned Clinton is increasingly moving beyond Trump and turning her attention to her transition to the presidency. A Democrat close to Clinton saying she's not being arrogant, she's being diligent. Clinton is sizing up candidate.
Fuck us.
No, guys,
Fuck even voting.
While that was on screen to show people this article, so we can finish the clip. I want to just show TV viewers. Let's see the clip. I thought it was on my sheet was longer than that. Okay, well, let's play the clip again. I think it's very, very informative. Let's just play that clip again. Here it is.
That we are leading nationally by 2 points. Numbers are looking phenomenal in Florida. Don't believe the media.
But a new ABC News national poll shows Trump trailing Clinton by 12 points. CNN has learned Clinton is increasingly moving beyond Trump and turning her attention to her transition to the presidency.
Like, fuck us. We ain't like vote yet. Even though I ain't vote, fuck that shit. I'm already part of the bullshit by them using my tax money to buy motherfucking ammunition and everything for the army to kill us.
They're just showing on screen has a, we just showed you earlier. Here it is from Zero Hedge, a 12% oversampling rate of Democrats. And what was Hillary ahead? 12 points. I mean, right there, that's saying dead heat. The article's up on Infowars.com. It's up on PrisonPlanet.com. It's up on DrudgeReport.com. Along with the next clip we've got when we come back. And that's the professor who predicted last 5 elections, says Trump has 87% chance of winning. And Google, its own Google bot, a few months ago admitted that Trump is set to win. I mean, even in places like the District of Columbia, Hillary barely has a lead. She's supposed to win District of Columbia by 25 points, not anymore.
Everybody there going to do some WikiLeaks. Yeah, we're going to do some WikiLeaks.
Look, I'm not sitting and saying, see, I told you so. That communist Chinese style net censorship is coming to the web. Because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to Infowars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. Infowars Live. Available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. Sit down and play games. And trending. You're going to be part of history. Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.
And this is the first showing of a video that we have for this.
Everybody, welcome to the State Department. I think we have some interns in the back. Welcome. Welcome to see you in this exercise in transparency and democracy.
We knew a lot less about the world's powerful leaders and institutions. We knew only what they wanted us to know.
Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy.
We didn't know how casually they brokered or stitched up trade deals, how routinely they conducted mass surveillance or kidnapped, indefinitely detained, tortured, or even murdered people. But then,
the whistleblower website WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks is getting ready for a bombshell.
WikiLeaks.
The guy ought to be, and I'm not for the death penalty, so if I'm not for the death penalty, we want to do it. Illegally shoot someone. WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks. I think about it as a high-tech
Julian Assnge founded WikiLeaks, a media organization unlike any other. In one decade, WikiLeaks has published more secret documents than all the rest of the world's media combined. WikiLeaks has published more than 10 million documents, more than 10 billion words. If you print them out, they will reach the center of the earth and then come out the other side. To celebrate WikiLeaks birthday, here are the top 10 greatest hits, 10 publications that helped us all better understand the world we live in. In 2007, WikiLeaks showed us
It's all about the message. Fuck how the shit look.
standard operating
Just listen.
procedures used to hide prisoners from the Red Cross, as well as PR guides used to eliminate certain words like suicide. or to rename a hunger strike and voluntary fasting. 500,000 documents make up the Iraq and Afghanistan war logs, the most detailed description of war to have ever been published. Each attack and death is listed, including 15,000 kills that have been kept secret from the public. When European oil company Trafigura dumped illegal toxic chemicals in the Ivory Coast, it convinced a British court to gag the BBC and the Guardian. WikiLeaks published the gag documents breaking the censorship ban. In 2010, WikiLeaks revealed how a US Apache helicopter killed 18 people, including 2 journalists and people in a van driving children to school. What shocked the world was the video game commentary of soldiers eager to kill.
They think this shit is motherfucking Call of Duty or fucking Grand Theft Auto.
The children from the van were severely injured in the attack. Their father and the other adults in the van were killed.
The United States strongly condemns the illegal disclosure of classified information.
Oh, fuck you, you lying bitch.
Later that year, WikiLeaks released over 250,000 secret US diplomatic cables about every country in the world. Cablegate exposed wrongdoing on every continent. WikiLeaks exposed the largest international agreements that the world has ever seen. The 3 big T's, which are being negotiated in secret. The 3 big T's are big businesses' new strategy to bypass the World Trade Organization and ensure that they get to set the international rules of what other countries can and cannot do.
Today, WikiLeaks begins its release of emails documenting the private lives and private lies of private sites.
WikiLeaks revealed the inner workings of private intelligence company Stratfor that provides advice to US government agencies, arms companies, and Dow Chemical, who hired Stratfor to spy on the victims of the largest chemical disaster in history, caused by their plant in Bhopal, India. With the 2.3 million emails published in the Syria files, including the emails of its head of state Bashar al-Assad, WikiLeaks revealed the true nature of the Syrian elite. The Syria files also shed light on how Western companies profited from Syria by breaching sanctions. WikiLeaks revealed the US National Security Agency spying on world leaders, including Chancellor Angela Merkel of Germany and the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, the last 3 French presidents, and President Berlusconi of Italy. Finally, coming in at number 10 are the emails of the US Democratic National Committee, which showed how the DNC undemocratically and illicitly stacked the deck against Bernie Sanders. As a result of those leaks, the DNC's 5 top heads rolled. For the 10 million documents published, and the 10 million more to come, let us all wish WikiLeaks a happy 10th birthday. To help WikiLeaks publish the next 10 million documents, go to wikileaks.org/donate.
Yeah, I suppose when you put it all like that, it's no wonder I feel a bit tired today. So yeah, 10 years. This day, 10 years ago, the domain wikileaks.org was registered. Since then, we've published over 10 million documents. That's over 10 billion words. That's more secret documents than the rest of the world's media combined. Sorry to everyone in the room. They cover information about every country on the world, and we've partnered to bring these revelations out with over 100 media organisations over the decades that we have been around so far. We're going to be celebrating over the next 10 weeks with new events being announced all the time, quite a number of supporter activities that people can get involved in. We have promotions on our book, the WikiLeaks Files. This is the hardback copy, but the paperback is about to be launched. So yeah, there's a lot going out over these next 10 weeks on the sort of supporter community side. We actually have some quotes coming in, some happy birthday quotes. There's one that came in just this morning from Chomsky, which you might be interested in. He says, on our birthday, WikiLeaks has provided a unique and quite outstanding service to people of the world, bringing to them information that they should and deserve to have, and that has been illegitimately concealed by systems of power. So it all began 10 years ago with the concept of an online Dropbox that Julian Assnge devised. This concept, we're very proud to say, has now become a lot more normalized and spawned and is a number of media rooms around the world. The concept here was that there was a system that was possible to be built, that he did build successfully, that people could submit documents online. That means they could upload them and get them directly to a media organization anonymously. We are now on our second generation submission system. We relaunched it just over a year ago. It has become clear, as I'm sure all of you are aware, the NSA surveillance capabilities. We started understanding in quite a lot of detail about these capabilities back in 2010 with some of our releases there, and a lot more as we continued with spy files in 2011. And it became clear that a lot more parts were needed for our Dropbox to make it secure in this mass surveillance age. Also, we'd grown our area of expertise in the whole operational side of source protection. So there's some unique elements of our Dropbox. For example, the fact that the instructions can be read from every single page on the website. So we actually even mask who is even considering submitting a document. You can't even analyze the internet traffic to our site and see who might even be considering and wanting to understand the tools they'll need. So we've stayed at the top of our game on our Dropbox over the whole decade. And of course, our online Dropbox began netting leaks very, very early on. It was just a couple of months later that our first publication came through. And since then, they've just kept coming. We've had, for example, quite a lot on Guantanamo Bay. These began in 2007 with the standard operating procedures that came out then. These showed the regulations around torture, propaganda uses by the US government to try and cover up their illegal behavior within Guantanamo Bay. What happened with the Guantanamo files, we've noticed actually happens in quite a lot of areas, that when we start publishing, the impact that we go for, that we promise our sources, is very successful. And other sources of other information relating to that topic understand the expertise that we have in the area, that we've generated, the media partners ready to work on those topics. And often a submission and a publication on one specific topic will net more on the same topic. So after we began in 2007 on Guantanamo, documents about Guantanamo Bay, we actually just continued to get more, and we've been publishing up until 2011. We still had some more on Guantanamo Bay. There's a number of these. We will be looking at every week over the 10-week period at different topics, themes or countries, and these stats and information will be coming out. Some other examples of some early on documents, there's a couple of interesting ones. German media, Focus magazine. Back at the 11th of August 2008, we released the missing pages of the Schaefer report into the illegal spying by German intelligence on the German press. The 2006 report, compiled by a former federal judge, investigated spying on journalists by Germany's BND, the Secret Intelligence Service here, which is forbidden under German law. The missing pages contain detailed descriptions about the BND's contacts with Focus magazine. The codename Jerez for one of the journalists there was Huffelschütter, who was in contact with them quite a lot, which was shown through these documents. We also released just the year before that, in 2007, the Stasi files, showing that the Stasi was still in charge of these Stasi archives. Then we moved through and we started getting a new trend coming in 2010. We started getting a large lot of document sets that were large archives. We began quite famously in 2010 Collateral Murder. I joined the organisation just after that, and I was part of one of the first of these large archives, the Afghan war logs, that we put out in 2010. That was over 90,000 reports from the war in Afghanistan, from the US troops on the ground there. This was the first time that a media organisation was publishing such a large set of documents in this way. It was a first for us at that time, but has a trend that has just continued and has grown. A few months after that, we published similar reports from Iraq, 40,000. These showing, for example, one such revelation from these reports was that the US government would not be reporting a number of instances of torture abuse claims that were received. And then, later that year, 250,000 cables. These were diplomatic documents from the US State Department, and we began in 2010 with publishing 250,000 cables. This was a publication that ended up with 100 media partners. We were publishing for several months. This produced amazing results all around the world. A couple that show the impact. For example, the cables have been cited by Tunisian academics for having contributed significantly to the revolution in Tunisia. They also were one of the main bases for immunity being withdrawn in Iraq. The Prime Minister at the time explained that this was a reason, the information in the cables, for them taking away immunity for US troops. And there's an interesting case which really showed us and started to develop our publishing model that we have been finessing over the last several years. And what we realized with Cablegate was that actually if one is just working with media, and as much as that does help on an impact side initially, there is a huge impact for archives, the very nature of them, of people being able to explore full archives and see trends in documents, is not only allows for more stories and information to get out that wouldn't otherwise be picked up by media, but is actually very empowering for the public. There was a case specifically that showed us that if we just allowed waiting for headlines, then the stories that all deserve to come to the forefront wouldn't necessarily. There's a German citizen, Khaled El-Masri. He happens to have the same name as a suspected terrorist. And he had been, while he was on holiday in Macedonia, kidnapped by the CIA, secretly renditioned, tortured, and then after several months after they discovered that actually they had the wrong person, he just happened to have the same name, the CIA just sort of dumped him out on the road. And he had terrible trouble trying to get a court case up. The US just said he had no standing, there was no documentation about the secret rendition, etc., etc. In the end, although partners did not pick up those cables to publish them initially, when we put out the entire set of Cablegate unredacted, he was able to go through, him and his legal team, they found the documents that were actually able to get them, and they were able to use them in the ECCHR case that he took that was eventually successful. And this really started to show us the value of publishing these full archives, not just searchable, but the full archives so that the public can interact with them. And this is something that we've kept on with doing, and you will know a number of our more recent releases, the DNC emails, Hillary emails, etc. We are keeping with this, having understood the value of publishing full large archives. Of course, for this, we got quite a number of attacks. The biggest and most interesting for me that we get, obviously we get DDoS attacks, and technically people try to take us down. We're very successful and always have been at staying online. We don't unpublish documents, our links aren't broken. But the one that was most interesting to me are the propaganda attacks that we get. And we've been living with these for several years. The first one that we were hit with when I joined was the blood on your hands, with the Iraq war logs, which I found just incredible even at the time. We were literally publishing the deaths at their hands of tens of thousands of people, and somehow this was turned around that because we explained to the world that the US were knowingly doing this, we somehow had blood on our hands, which of course is not true at all. And what was interesting with this story that still is occasionally repeated, although predominantly people have come to understand that it is just based on a bunch of lies, was that actually this point was brought up in the trial of Chelsea Manning. And the US government tried very hard to try and show in that trial that there had been any harm done from any of these publications. This was something they wanted to use against Manning and, of course, Julian and WikiLeaks. And what was interesting was that the US government themselves, despite having successfully brought up this talking point, were actually able to find no evidence of harm. And you can see some of the quotes here, and it became very clear in the trial that actually even the US government don't have any facts to back up their point. And we've seen these sorts of propaganda attacks continue. We're going through quite a large one at the moment. Doesn't surprise us at all. We've also come to understand quite a large trend with these propaganda attacks, that every time we're about to publish, or we're publishing large things, or we're in the middle of a big investigative partnership with a large archive that's coming out, and it's very clear in the power that this is coming, and the powers that be, or the organisation that we are publishing about, whose lies and secrets we are revealing, does start in this big propaganda spin against us. And so with the large amount of documents that are clearly coming, that Julian has made a few small references to recently, and of course some have come out, the DNC emails, etc., of course, as is usual for us, a large spin machine went into play against us, and there have been, it seems, quite some digging through past publications. There really is, it seems to me, quite a concerted attack to go in through and just try and find anything. Of course, as is usual, when you start to pick them apart, none of these actually work. I'll just look at a couple of them now that have come out recently, just to illustrate, I suppose, how easily falsifiable and based on no facts are just spin. And it is interesting to me that it is all happening at this time where clearly we are at quite a height of publication. So for example, Russian agents. I am apparently a Russian spy. We don't publish anything on Russia. Apparently it's a bit too difficult to Google WikiLeaks Russia and see the 2.3 million emails that we've put out exposing Assad's regime, because apparently we were not publishing on Russia and Syria, or the 650,000 documents that we've published on Russia. That was apparently a bit too difficult to fact check. What's another good one we've had recently? Oh yeah, the Turkish one. Oh, this was funny. Yeah, so then there was a big hoopla online because apparently we published some data on Turkish women and everybody was getting very upset and it was personal, etc., etc. The most amazing lack of fact-checking here. What was being referred to was not even anything that we'd published. And in fact, the person that did publish it actually stated that it wasn't us, that they'd published it and they had now removed it after this criticism. But apparently, well, we'll just ignore the tweet, we'll just ignore people explaining they published it. No. We'll attribute it completely falsely to WikiLeaks and try and get up this spin. So for us, these sorts of attacks are quite interesting. It's interesting to see the type of reaction and spin one gets. As I say, these are always, we've seen the trend, it is a reaction from an organisation or entity that we are publishing about. They are bringing it up in defence, and so it is actually interesting for us generally to see the types of attacks, the type of spin and propaganda that is tried to be worked up, because this actually tells us even more about the organisation, interestingly enough, that we were revealing about in the first place. So, yeah, as long as journalists are willing to not fact check, we're willing to do it afterwards. And we've learned that the main lesson through this is, through these propaganda attacks, is just keep publishing. We publish real documents, true documents, source documents. They speak for themselves. The public can interact with them themselves, and that is, and always has been, and is now 10 million or 10 billion, depending on if you prefer words or documents, that many times that we have been proven correct on this. And so we will keep publishing. It has been 10 years and 10 million documents so far, and there are a lot more coming. We've got, Julian will be speaking a bit more about that in a second. But right now, we're just going to hear from one of our media partners briefly. The other one was due to be joining us, John Getz. Sadly, he's been held up. Oh no, he's here. Just at the last minute. Grand entrance, hey John. I know you're going. Stefania and John, if you'd like to come and join me. So John Getz is a German journalist here, and Stefania has come from Italy, and they're just going to say a few words about working with WikiLeaks as media partners.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, good. So, hi, good morning. I'm here not because I have special wisdom. I'm a journalist like you. I just want to share my experience of 10 years of WikiLeaks. I spent the last 7 years partnering with WikiLeaks, working on all their releases from the Afghan war logs to the latest releases. So I have quite a lot of experience. And so...
Sorry, Stefania Maurizzi, and it'll also be on the slide at the end, and it should be in, if you've got one of these packs, it should be there, but Stefania...
Yeah, Stefania Maurizzi? Yes, I'm working...
But yeah, it'll be on the slide at the end, Stefania Maurizzi.
I'm working for the Italian news magazine Espresso and Italian daily La Repubblica. So, basically, it all started in 2007 when one of my high-value sources was basically destroyed, had very serious consequences, just for contacting me, just for trying to contact a journalist. So at that point, I realized that the well-established techniques to protect sources which journalists use are no longer working. We need something better. So I'm a mathematician. Before journalism, I got a degree in mathematics. So I have good sources in cryptography. And one of my high-level sources in cryptography told me, well, you should have a look on that bunch of lunatics. And the lunatics were the WikiLeaks guy. WikiLeaks had just been established, so very, very few people knew about even the name of WikiLeaks. So that top-level source in cryptography put WikiLeaks on my radar screen. And I started looking at this organization, their work, how they were publishing things, how they were basically operating, and I got very interested in their methods and in their approach to journalism, because it was a good approach, very different approach to journalism. And suddenly, in 2009, one night in July 2009, at 3 a.m. in the morning, someone called me. We are WikiLeaks. Okay. Could you please get up and go to your computer, because we have a file, and you need to get this file before it is too late. Please go to your computer, and could you please help to verify the authenticity of this file? So I went to the I accessed this file and realized that it was very important. It was a file about the garbage crisis in Naples. Probably you know this crisis because it hit the headlines around the world. And it was basically the alleged role of the Italian secret services in this crisis. So at that point, I realized their methods. I realized how they were operating. Though at that time I knew very little, and I started tracking them down, trying to understand who they are, how they work. And that 2009, I basically started partnering with WikiLeaks on all the releases, working on each of the releases. And I could tell you some good paranoia stories about the paranoia of getting fake documents. But I could tell you also, tell you a very good story about tough journalistic work for verifying these documents and try to put them in a context, getting good stories, because this is what journalism is about, verifying documents, finding angles, finding stories, and make these stories accessible to how important. I mean, it was thanks to WikiLeaks documents that we were able to learn what happened behind the scene of the the story, the Italian story. Actually, it is an international story. You probably know the extraordinary rendition of the Milan cleric Abu Omar. Abu Omar was kidnapped in Milan, and basically Italy is the only country which nailed the CIA agents involved in this rendition. And thanks to WikiLeaks cables, we were able to understand what happened behind the scene, how the US government tried to put pressure on the Italian prosecutors, on the Italian politicians in order not to have this case going ahead in the court. And I could tell you what happened with the Syria files when we discovered the Italian arms giant Finmeccanica selling this communication equipment, military equipment to the Assad regime. And in that case, we got a libel case. So we got a major libel case, but we were able to win because the documents were true, documents were genuine. And we had done a good work, and WikiLeaks had done a good work revealing these documents, revealing a story which would have been inaccessible without the WikiLeaks document. Finally, if you check the latest UN report on Sudan, you probably know that Sudan is one of the countries which is under embargo by the UN. There is an arms embargo. And the UN inspectors, actually the UN experts, go there, travel to Sudan, and check whether this embargo is well respected, whether there are violations, whether sanctions are needed. So if you check this latest document, which was published the 22nd of September, you will see how the UN inspector uses WikiLeaks documents to expose companies selling this military equipment to the Sudanese regime. So you will understand how even the UN rely on these documents published by WikiLeaks. And this report was basically released 1 week ago after apparently Russia tried to stop its publication. So in that case, no one said, well, WikiLeaks revealed some document that Russia didn't want to reveal. No one said anything, but the documents are used by the UN expert, and it was important to expose the companies violating the embargo, the UN embargo against Sudan. So that's why I keep working on the files. I keep working on the releases, because they bring these important documents which would be inaccessible otherwise. Thank you.
My name is John Getz, and I work for the NDR and for the Süddeutsche Zeitung. There was some misunderstanding, I think, in some of the announcements that I work for WikiLeaks or something like that. That's not true. I want to make that very clear. I'm a journalist that works for NDR and for the Süddeutsche Zeitung. And I was asked just to kind of talk about, my experience over the years working with WikiLeaks. And it first began with the Afghan war logs and the Iraq war logs and the diplomatic cables when I was working at Der Spiegel. And it's continued today in my capacity where I work now. And we've worked with WikiLeaks on some of the releases. We haven't done all of the releases. There've been, and basically we look at each release at a time, and we look to authenticate and look at the value of the publication, and then we decide based on that example if we're going to go ahead or not. And it just, when I look back at the last 6 years, what it's been for me, it's very interesting how I became very naive about encryption, about the safety of emails, the safety of downloading documents. I remember at the time I found all of that stuff completely irritating, and like, why are they wasting my time? These are really, really difficult people who seem to take joy in making my life as a journalist difficult. And that was really how it felt like to me. You know what I mean? And they were constantly harping on this whole security thing. And it was very interesting how now in the last 6 years that my attitude about that's really changed. A lot of it had to do through the work of WikiLeaks, but also, of course, what came out with Edward Snowden later on.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to find out what time the clinic open up because I've been at home suffering without my medication because I left my prescriptions there at here. So I'm just trying to find out what time do you guys get start business.
Oh, where were you at? Where did you leave it?
I left them in your bathroom in the outpatient clinic.
Okay, they open at 8 o'clock.
At 8?
They're
They open now? All right, then. Okay, thank you. Yeah, could you pass me to them?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Could you pass me to their office? Or is this it?
No, I can get you. What office? Where are you at? The doctor's office?
Yeah, the doctor's office. The doctor's office is where I was at. The clinic.
Okay, one second.
That a lot of the things that they had been telling me that I thought were brain dead were not brain dead. So that was one thing. And there was also just one other thing I wanted to mention. That I did a lot of work on the Khalid al-Masri kidnapping case that Sarah had mentioned earlier before WikiLeaks had been involved in it.
Now you heard that, huh? Sometimes people are saying that your people is brain dead when they're not brain dead. They just don't know what's going on with them. And they say that they're brain dead. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good morning. This is Lucy. This is at this here clinic.
Yes, ma'am. This is Mr.
Do you know what restroom you were in?
This is Mr. John. See, cause it had to be when I was there Friday because I've been looking all around and I suffered throughout the whole weekend, all the way to Monday, and that's when I remember being in the bathroom where I went to go catch her.
Right, so what doctor did you see?
I came to give a urine specimen.
Huh?
I came to give a urine specimen for Dr. Kirschman.
Oh, you came to give a urine specimen for Dr. Kirschman. Okay, and they gave you a prescription?
No. What happened was I put my bag down while I went to go get the specimen, and when I picked my bags up, I forgot one bag. It must have fell on the floor. And when I called up about it, and no one never called me back. So I was you have to go 48 hours before you can get any type of transportation ride. And I have a transportation ride to get there, and I'm just making sure that someone's gonna be there for me to see in order to because no one called me back to see if they found my prescription.
Well, there's always gonna be somebody here, but if Dr. Kirschman's not here,
Right, that's what I'm
He
saying.
was
So
just here yesterday.
okay, so like I said, I couldn't get no ride anyway because you gotta do it 48 hours ahead of time. So that's why I plan to ride for today. So this is what I'm trying to find out. So he is there today.
No, Dr. Fitch's not here today.
Okay, so what administrator who I can speak to, because they should have a copy on file about those.
You need to speak to one of the nurses. Let me transfer you, okay?
Okay.
Do you want their phone number before I transfer you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are you ready for it?
Hold on one second. Okay, what is it?
713
7
797
7 7 9 7.
797. Is that that?
Yes, ma'am.
7233.
7 2 3 3. Yes, ma'am. Could you pass me through?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I just need to call, or you can transfer.
No, I'm going to transfer you.
Okay.
Okay, well, for just a second, okay?
Thank you.
If they don't answer you in voicemail, they'll get back to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, one second.
Thank you for calling the Cheer Outpatient Medical Clinic's nurse triage line. If this is a medical emergency, please hang up and dial 911. Our nurses are currently assisting other patients, but will be next soon to assist you as well. If this call is for a prescription refill, please ask your pharmacy to fax a request to 713-797-5213. Otherwise, please leave a message with your name, date of birth, and callback number, and we will return your call typically within 24 hours. Thank you and have a great day.
Yes, this is Mr. John Northland. You can get in touch with me at 832-710-0943. I guarantee the number is 832-701-0943. My name is John Northland. I'm calling about, I left my prescriptions there. I'm trying to get over there to get prescriptions. I don't know where I lost the prescriptions at, but I know one thing. It was at the hospital the last time I had them out. So, if someone give me a call back, once again, my name is John Northland. 832-208. Now, I want to call my number, 832-701-0943. Thank you.
There actually still is an arrest warrant today from a German state prosecutor for the 13 CIA men who had kidnapped Khalid al-Masri. The Munich state prosecutor has an ongoing arrest warrant. And one of the great things for me in my work as a journalist was to see it through WikiLeaks documents released by WikiLeaks, the shadows of my work as a journalist in the government and how the U.S. government, put pressure on the Chancellery about the stories that we were working on at the time, to see how the Justice Ministry, there was pressure on them, and to see kind of actually how politics works. And it, for me, was just, and it remains one of the most interesting insights of that time. So if people want to know later on, I'm happy to talk to anyone individually about what it's been like to be a journalist who works with WikiLeaks sometimes, and so
Does anybody have any sort of questions on working with
Oh,
us?
y'all
and our
people don't even know what
partnerships
y'all
or
are
anything
doing. Y'all
like that
putting
that John
targets on y'all
wants to
back, but guess what?
answer?
You can't have no fear.
Okay. Okay, well, good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we had some media partnerships for some smaller size publications before Cablegate. In the summer we had with the Afghan war logs, for example. Hi. Sorry for the delay, I was just waiting for one of our speakers who's just held up, but they're further held up, so we will just begin anyway. I won't waste any more of your time. Thank you very much for coming. It is the anniversary of 10 years of WikiLeaks starting today, and this is the first showing of a video that we...
She went that far. God damn. While we doing that, you might as well listen to Alex Jones while I live there and go all the way back with this bullshit. Shit. Technology be fucking with you sometimes. But you can't let it deter you. You just gotta know one thing. You about good. You ain't about the bullshit.
To 47 points at the high end. Joe Scalzo, this is unprecedented corruption.
It's been going on for a long time. Look at the 2012 election. They've had these multiple surges. Suddenly, Herman Cain was surging, and then it was Rick Santorum surging, and of course, when they went to the primary, the surge disappeared. They had to surge someone else. It's all phony polling. Very easy to do. The oversampling means that in your database, you program it to bring up a certain higher percentage of Democratic inclining voters, and you oversample those versus...
And they admit it. So how do we counter that?
Who they are?
To people that say, I'm not going to vote now because it says Trump's going to lose.
Well, this is influencing the election before it happens. The only thing we can do, and I know some of your callers have asked about this, is that how do you stop vote fraud? Well, you've got to demand that your local officials do a certain amount of
don't vote.
Checking with paper ballots
Don't
every
vote.
election to provide a sampling of accuracy.
We've worked with WikiLeaks on some of the releases. We haven't done all of the releases.
That's right. Even 5%.
We look at
didn't
each.
Match that. And if somebody else is winning on the sample, this is bull.
Yeah. In other words, the election officials say, no, we can't do a recount with paper ballots. It takes too long. It's too expensive. So they just do a sample. Give us 5%. So that we know if the machine is accurate.
And by the way, that's in a smaller town. From some of the studies I've seen, if you're in a city of 1 million people and you're going to have 400,000 voters, you can sample 1% in because it's such a larger number, it then becomes an accurate sample. Well, I eyeballed this in 1992 and 96. I went in, when I was getting out of high school, and I went and did this, and then in college, and I was already on air in 96. I would go, they'd pay like $2 an hour. It really wasn't voluntarily. I'm digressing. They make you take money as a point. And I would go and work in the main election center, and I would see Pat Buchanan in the primary, 60-70% of the votes. And I was talking to other people, stacking the Scantrons. Well, who's bubbled in? It's Pat Buchanan. And then he was like 6-7% at the end of the night. I mean, it was total fraud. I was sampling with my eyeballs. What do you think of that?
It's absolutely fraud, and it happens all the time. It's been happening for years. They're getting just better and better at it. But this propaganda about the media, about there can't be any fraud. I mean, everyone is just saying, we'll turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah, man, it's just playing us like fucking stupid ass sheep.
The theft of the primary. Could he then fight it and we end up winning?
The trouble is, unless you have the process of audit in place and you try to get it afterwards, they'll say, well, next election we'll do it. Next election, they'll put it off. That's why I say you need to demand right now that your local officials decide to do an audit of this election so that we can prove if there's fraud or not. I mean, you can say if there's no fraud, well, let's prove it then. Everybody audit 5% of your ballots with the paper ballots and see if the computers are accurate.
That's really a great idea. Andrew in Canada, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. Dr. Skeleton, I just want to say I appreciate your book and your strategic relocation about a year ago, and it's very informative.
Thank you.
I'd also like your point of view on the outcome of the election. And I don't know if you watch a whole lot of TV, but The Simpsons is a good source of propaganda. And one of the things that I saw in a recent new episode in the intro was Trump's daughter's name for 2028. So I don't know if you know anything about that.
Well, I haven't heard that particular one, but certainly he's got some children that could run for office and be even more well-spoken than Donald Trump. As I've said here on this show, I think they cannot afford to let Trump win. I think they will manipulate the election result, even if they have to make 10 million votes disappear to make sure Hillary's the winner. I think Trump is much closer, if not ahead, in real counts, but I doubt if they're going to let that show up. So I think they must make Trump lose, and they must make Trump lose big.
It's unprecedented, but we win by supporting Trump, by promoting liberty, by promoting an awakening to globalism. This last 2 years has been a devastating victory against the New World Order worldwide.
Absolutely. The Brexit, what's happening in the EU, there's a massive resistance. And as I say, I've always said, they'll eventually give you a war. That's what Helmut Kohl said in 1997 when the EU people were arguing about strengthening the treaty. And he said, look, the only alternative to the EU is war. And everybody looked at it, there's no sentiment for war in Europe. And as a globalist, what he was meaning to them
we'll start one.
Is we'll start one. If you don't go along with this voluntarily, we'll give you war because that'll make you turn to globalism.
And that's the globalist threat. Give us what we want or we'll start World War III. Over and over and over again. And they'll betray us all in the end. Andrew, a great point. Look, I'm not saying Joel's wrong. Joel's right most of the time.
Stop right there to go back to what we were normally watching.
We lease at a time, and we look to authenticate and look at the value of the publication, and then we decide based on that example if we're going to go ahead or not. And it just, when I look back at the last 6 years that it's been for me, it's very interesting how I came very naive about encryption, about the safety of emails, the safety of downloading documents. I remember at the time I found all of that stuff completely irritating and like, why are they wasting my time? These are really, really difficult people who like seem to take joy in making my life as a journalist difficult.
Yeah,
and that was really how it felt like to me. You know what I mean? And they were constantly harping on this whole security thing. And it was very interesting how now in the last 6 years that my attitude about that's really changed. A lot of it had to do through the work of WikiLeaks, but also, of course, what came out with Edward Snowden later on, that a lot of the things that they had been telling me that I thought were brain dead were not brain dead. So that was one thing. And there was also just one other thing I wanted to mention, that I did a lot of work on the Khalid al-Masri kidnapping case that Sarah had mentioned earlier, before WikiLeaks had been involved in it. And there was actually, there actually still is an arrest warrant today from a German state prosecutor for the 13 CIA men who had kidnapped Khalid al-Masri. The Munich state prosecutor has an ongoing arrest warrant. And one of the great things for me in my work as a journalist was to see it, through WikiLeaks documents released by WikiLeaks, the shadows of my work as a journalist in the government, and how the U.S. government, put pressure on the Chancellery about the stories that we were working on at the time, to see how the Justice Ministry, there was pressure on them, and to see kind of actually how politics works. And it, for me, was just, and it remains one of the most interesting insights of that time. So if people want to know later on, I'm happy to talk to anyone individually about what it's been like to be a journalist who works with WikiLeaks sometimes, and so that's.
Does anybody have any sort of questions on working with us and our partnerships or anything like that John and Steph can answer? No? No? All good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah?
that shit boring. WikiLeaks about to tell about the bullshit.
Yeah, so
here with the war.
we had some media partnerships for some smaller size publications before Cablegate. Even in the summer we had with the Afghan war logs, for example, a sort of smaller size one than we then came to have with about 3 or 4 partners. And as we rolled out Cablegate, essentially what it was that as we would start to publish the cables to do with a certain region or country, we would basically analyse the media in that country and look at who had the best investigative teams and would therefore do justice to the material. Often we got more than one in each country. We actually discovered working with some of the media that stories will on purpose be missed because of a political bias of the editorial of a paper. So we would often actually get multiple media in a country, which in itself, how that worked, often ended up quite an interesting exercise in itself of what one would miss and one would get, or miss on purpose. And then going forward, we've then built up this very strong partnership with over 100 around the globe, and so if there's documents relevant to a particular country or a particular interest in there, then we will approach the media partners that we have there already, and if there's an area where we don't have, although we're getting very few countries now in the world where we don't have good media partners, but if not, then we'll do the same process of analysing and deciding, and then there's a bit of a process of teaching the security tools and how to work in a secure way with the documents, so there is a bit of lead-in time, but that's how. And then when a publication comes along, again, same analysis, who will be the best media partners, what type of is our ideal partnership, and then we go and approach those people. Okay. So through all of this, through all of these publications, we
I'm sorry, but the person you called has a voicemail box that has not been.
The number or code you have dialed is incorrect.
Crazy, man. What was that on my dad?
had, yes, the propaganda attacks, but also some legal attacks against us as well. This began obviously in 2010 with the banking blockade. We've been working hard against that to not only get the blockade dropped, but to actually get some justice for it. Obviously, for an organisation that relies off donations, when we were publishing hundreds of documents a day, to not have that revenue stream coming in was quite debilitating for a while. But we pushed on through. We have managed to predominantly successfully defeat the banking blockade. We've won court cases against Visa and MasterCard, and we're in the damages phase of that. So hopefully over the next few months and year there will be some updates on that case, but we are being successful as that progresses. We've then of course had a lot of surveillance, electronic, some of it mass surveillance, and some of it obviously targeted. Julian Assange is in an embassy where, although there was several months ago the Met Police did put out a statement that they were taking away their overt surveillance, they did state that they were going to be upping the covert surveillance. Sorry. I thought there was a question. Sorry to pause. But yeah, so I had a particular interaction with some of the U.S. grand jury case against us and the surveillance that we get. A couple of Christmases ago, I got a lovely Christmas present from Google, where they sent me finally, after having been keeping it secret for 2 years, they sent me the subpoena that they'd had on my emails. Now, it was interesting that this was a private email account before I joined WikiLeaks, so this really goes to show the dragnet nature of the investigation in the United States, that Melinda will talk more about in a second. And just before she comes on, I just sort of want to say that we've really seen with the grand jury in the US from a member of staff that this is really, we can see that it is trying to get our boss, our editor-in-chief, Julian Assange, but it's quite worrying for all of us as members of staff that they're willing to go to these lengths, where my private emails, you know, with my family, etc., were caught up in this dragnet surveillance to try and get Julian on criminal codes such as espionage, conspiracy to commit espionage, computer fraud and abuse acts. These are all very serious crimes in the United States. And this is on top of something I just want to illustrate now because I think it shows it quite well. This sort of surveillance and these sorts of secret legal threats that the US government has been, or the US has been making against us, have also come from a number of government officials in quite a personal way ever since 2010 they began.
Yeah, because you're telling the truth on them dog, dirty, stink bitches. All them bitches in government ain't worth a fucking nickel. I said it. I ain't got no fear of y'all bitches.
High-tech terrorists, cyber terrorists, information terrorism.
Shut it down. We're going to have you.
Use a drone or something. Avoid the brain. Illegally shoot someone. Information warfare is warfare. And Julian Assnge is engaged in warfare. Information terrorism, which leads to people getting killed, is terrorism. And Julian Assnge is engaged in terrorism.
Bitch, y'all engaged in everything else that ain't wrong, right? That ain't straight.
Should the United States do something to stop Mr. Assange? We're looking at that right now. In just 5 minutes, taking a look at that. I would argue that it's closer to being high-tech terrorists than the Pentagon Papers.
This disclosure is not just an attack on America's
Boy, they playing y'all stupid fucking people just like y'all are stupid. Ain't nobody supposed to be with this shit unless you with them bitches. Because the truth is the truth. Fuck all the bullshit that they're about. They're about lies and bullshit and manipulating the truth. Not telling the truth, telling the lies. Everything that you think you know, everything that you believe in, they taught you to believe in that bullshit, and you believe in that shit. Hook, line, and funky ass sinker. Y'all believe every fucking thing y'all see on TV. Y'all dumb fuckers. And the dumb fuckers know exactly who I'm talking about. You fuckers that believe in the record bullshit.
Crimes against humanity. He should be killed. How is it?
Wow, that boy said he should be killed.
How is it that the WikiLeaks die remains free? You know, back in the old days when men were men in countries for countries, this guy would die of lead poisoning from a bullet in the brain.
Wow.
And nobody would know who put it there.
Wow, because that's exactly how this shit works now.
We got special ops forces. I mean, the dead man can't leak stuff. This guy.
Wow, you hear these people?
And he has broken every law in the United States.
Hey, fuck that, he told the truth on y'all stinky bitches.
So if I'm not for the death penalty, I want to do it. Illegally shoot someone.
Wow. Just because he telling the truth, y'all want him dead. Man, fuck every last one of y'all.
Shut it down.
And y'all create a God name. And Jesus need to come back and get y'all ass. Wow. Wow. All because they don't want the truth.
So yeah, they're quite serious.
Wow.
Quite serious.
So I say to all you stupid, funky ass, dumb ass sheeple out there, if you don't understand, understand the bullshit that's going on, if you with the bullshit that's going on, you are gonna be the one that caught up in the bullshit net when you see everything going wrong, and you saying, "Oh Lord, help me! Oh Jesus, is you coming back to save me?" It's gonna be
She's
the
a criminal
same
lawyer at
people
the
that gave you your
ICC, and
Jesus
she led
and gave you your
the
God.
UN case that we had.
For you not to
recently.
know who the creator is in you to be
Hi,
a creator
everyone.
yourself. The same people that gave you all the lies that
This
you
year,
believe in so
the
strongly to believe
UN
in
Working Group on
is the same ones that's gonna do
issued
you
a
in.
landmark decision finding that Julian
Religion
was a
and
victim
all
of
that
illegal
bullshit
and
is
arbitrary detention.
man-made bullshit.
They further found that the circumstances of his detention violated his right to protection from torture and cruel treatment. They found that Sweden and the United Kingdom had a duty to ensure his protection and security. This decision concerned the legal responsibilities of the UK and Sweden, and they were jointly responsible for keeping him in detention. But it was clear from the subtext of the decision that there was a larger villain lurking in the background. Indeed, in an email from the Crown Prosecution Services to their Swedish counterpart, it was underlined that, please do not think that this case is being dealt with as just another extradition request. And why was that?
Nah.
It's because the long arm of the US had reached out to its allies and indicated that it wanted Assange by any means possible.
Necessary.
As a result, it's the ever-present risk of being carted off to face an unfair and abusive prosecution in the US that forms the bars that keeps Julian indefinitely detained. The complex legal decisions and actions that have given rise
that you can
to this
detain
indefinite detention
put somebody in
can be
jail without no
distilled to a
fucking
few
charges.
simple
Y'all
and
stupid
irrefutable
fucking people.
facts.
Y'all laying up there and just allowing this.
There is
Man,
an
it's some bullshit.
ongoing national security prosecution of both Julian and WikiLeaks. It is the largest investigation under the Espionage Act in U.S. history.
But look at this here. Look how they investigate this dude, and look at the fucked up shit that Hillary Clinton did, and you ain't even much trying to find out the real people and where the money comes from for September 11th, because September 11th was an inside fucking job. Basically, every fucking war that we've been in been false flagged by the United States
The UN Special Rapporteur on Torture
to kill innocent
found that the
soldiers, women,
interrogation
and
method
men.
applied to her
That's some bullshit.
amounted
Y'all some
to
stupid
torture.
ass soldiers. Yes, y'all
As
are.
Sarah mentioned,
Y'all
in
defending a
2012,
fucking
the
country
Department
that
of
don't give a
Justice
fuck
issued
about
secret
you.
subpoenas
It just give a fuck about what
to
type of money they
obtain
can
email
get
accounts with
from
private,
the war,
personal, privileged information
and how much money they gonna
and
get
barely-
for the
barely
insurance they
minimum
have
approach
on you
for the
losing a leg or dying. That's the bullshit. That's the bullshit. So if you live without a leg, you barely living without a leg because your government ain't really doing shit for you when you look at your VA hospital. But they getting paid for you being fucked up. That's some bullshit. You don't even much know that on the stocks, your name is on the stocks with them, insured with them because you're in the army. It's a bunch of bullshit.
for the very people who have the power to either elect or dismiss them.
We are the people. We have the power. All we have to do is come together and don't be afraid of dying while coming together in this bullshit.
Once again, the spectre of Reds under the beds has been resurrected. Just because WikiLeaks dared to publish information, for example, about Hillary Clinton's policy failings and her short-sighted and flawed approach to international interventions, for example, in Libya. He published this, therefore he must be anti-American. He must be an enemy of state. They don't see him as a publisher. They see him as an enemy combatant who must be brought to heel.
All because he's telling the fucking truth.
Julian has even been placed on an NSA man-hunting list, along with other members of terrorist organizations. And as Sarah
That
mentioned,
goes to show you how fucked up the government is. Come on, people, open your eyes and see this bullshit. If you don't open your eyes to see this bullshit, next thing you know, you're going to be in that black box and you ain't going to be seeing shit. Why? Because they're going to be in the head of a war and somebody's going to drop the bomb on us. And it's going to be our own people that drop the bomb on us to say that it was Germany, to say that it was somebody else. This is real bullshit because they're trying to population control.
Or we can only give him an assurance that he won't be given to the US after he leaves the embassy and after he comes to Sweden.
It's just like the big bad wolf who's outside the doors of the Ecuadorian embassy. He's trying to huff and puff and blow it down. And now he's trying to convince Julian to leave. Come out, Julian. I might be chomping on a Chelsea Manning sandwich. That might be Edward Snowden in a frying pan behind me. But you'll be safe if you come. And so the stalemate continues. Julian remains detained because the UK and Sweden continue to flout their international obligations and their duty to protect him from this risk. But even though Julian has been locked up, they haven't been able to silence him or WikiLeaks. Over the last 5 years, whilst Julian was detained, WikiLeaks has continued to publish key information that has changed the world. Without WikiLeaks, this information would have remained unknown or obscured. But it has now empowered people throughout the world to know where the perimeters of responsible government ends and the shadowy outlines of the dollar commences. WikiLeaks documents are not created, culled or pieced together to support a particular political narrative. And as a result, they show both sides of the coin. As an example, it was the detailed minutiae of corruption and excesses that were set out in leaked US diplomatic cables that acted as a catalyst for the Arab Spring. But the diplomatic emails and cables leaked by WikiLeaks were also instrumental in revealing the political machinations that both preceded and accompanied the NATO intervention in Libya. For example, one can see in Hillary Clinton's emails that she was aware of the profile of Saif Gaddafi as a potential reformer. She was aware of potential peace plans that could have avoided further civilian casualties. The US were aware later that if he was tried in Libya, it would be inevitable that he would be given a death penalty. Nonetheless, all of this was avoided or ignored because of the political calculus of securing oil contracts as compared to protecting civilian lives. So these documents have had a range of repercussions in a range of areas. They're used by both the Victims Council and Defense Council International
YouTube will go and put on their copyrights to anything that the algorithm is saying that somebody might actually listen to this shit. So we need to lay up there and ban that shit right now for copyright reasons for muting it out or taking it off. Man, I'm like this shit, man, fuck you YouTube, fuck you Facebook. The truth is the truth. Period. Fuck all the bullshit. And if you won't be bullshit and not want the truth to come out because the power that be controls you, fuck you, be a puppet. But I still love you for putting out some of the truth that you allowed to come out. Because you could just stop it all together. So like I say, fuck you YouTube, fuck you Facebook, but in a loving type of way.
For example, the collateral
because I love that y'all was created to relate to the people before you got turned back to what y'all really was created for. The agenda of the elite, of the ones that's powerful.
Today's event has been convened to mark the 10th year anniversary of the registration of WikiLeaks.
Go WikiLeaks, go WikiLeaks, go.
These 10 years have transformed the notion of democracy and human rights. Because of WikiLeaks, people throughout the world have the power to know what is being done, why it's being done,
I am for WikiLeaks.
Through this knowledge, they can more fully participate in the world they live in and protect their rights. I would like to thank Julian.
The UN decision, just so that you can get the wording of that Melinda was just referring to, this is the announcement of it.
Julian Assange has been arbitrarily detained by Sweden and the United Kingdom since his arrest in London on 7 December 2010 as a result of the legal action taken against him by both governments. The expert panel called on the Swedish and British authorities to end Mr. Assange's deprivation of liberty. I think the recommendation is quite clear. Respect his physical integrity and freedom of movement, and afford him the right to compensation.
And despite that UN ruling that came several months ago, Julian is still in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, although hopefully via video to us right now. These things never work just as they're meant to, huh?
Slide, please.
We heard that, Julian.
Alright, that's great.
Wait, hold on, you were just a random voice, sort of weirdly echoing, sort of in an omnipresent fashion down to us.
Come on, Scotty.
Beam him up, Scotty. Yeah. Good, Wiki. I like that.
Okay, sorry for the delay. We're just sorting that out for just a couple of seconds. Does anybody have a question from the legal side whilst we're just trying to set that up that Melinda might be able to answer? Yes. I don't know if you want to make sort of a general comment. I would say that on the specific announcements, the sort of, I know it sounds a bit bad, but it's a bit of a get-out clause, but obviously the nature of sort of a security issue for him is one that we can't really go into too much. Oh, we've got him, sorry. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
The truth,
this
buddy.
is truth, not Ruth, actually.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I actually didn't hear much of what went on because you need to be close to the mic with technical. But okay, so I understand we're in the Volksbringer, and to thank the Volksbringer for Volksbringer again for letting us use that space. It's a quite important place in the
Boy, the power that be wish that they would never let you come to be, son. Believe that, just.
We have about 20 minutes, is that right? We're running a little over time. But,
yeah.
I'll try and cut it to 15 so we have time for questions. Over the last 10 years, WikiLeaks has released 10 million documents comprising of 10 million words. And why the numbers are not everything, they're a start. That's information, however, never would have existed in the world had we not released it. They would have been stored away somewhere privately. It wouldn't have become part of our collective civilizational knowledge. And it corresponds to approximately 3,000 documents a day on average. That's a hell of a lot of work. That's why we don't release every single day. We do things at scale in order to, say, release 100,000 documents at once. But it does pan out to about 3,000 documents per day. Why is I'm in a position where I've been detained without charge here in the UK, in one form or another, prison, house arrest, the last 4 years in the embassy, as a result of this work. Some of our sources, or alleged sources, have suffered terrible consequences in the United States. Actually, not many. We have thousands, and only a couple of alleged sources that are facing difficulty, but altogether, in sources and supporters, people have been sentenced to something like 50 years altogether. And the two most significant cases is that of Chelsea Manning in the United States, sentenced to 35 years in prison purely for communicating with the media. That's the allegation. There's no other allegation against them. The United Nations found that they had been tortured, targeted public to cruel and inhumane treatment, akin to torture. Jeremy Hammond was imprisoned in New York for 10 years. And a number of supporters back in the heat of the kind of first phase of neo-Nazi hysteria in the United States in 2011, went through a legal process as well, mostly got off in prison. But, okay, what does it teach you? Well, it teaches you something about the structure of power. Whenever WikiLeaks engages in a release, the information that we reveal about an institution or about a state is interesting. Also, the reactions by the institution or the state is extremely revealing, and the reactions by tertiary players, such as particular media groups and their alignment, allied institutions, and so on. I mean, this in some way harkens back to the old statement of Voltaire, that if you want to understand structure of power, you can see who it is that you have difficulty writing about. Well, myself, and our sources, we believe in some kind of romantic ideal. It's quite a quaint notion, it's quite a beautiful notion. It's quite a notion, in fact, that perhaps in some ways doesn't belong to this time. It belongs to an older time, perhaps a future time, which is that we understand the world, we do something that is rational. It's not something of a in some kind of romantic. It doesn't belong to this time. It belongs to an older time, perhaps a future time, which is that we're understanding the world, we do something sane, that is rational. It's not something of a postmodernist view of extremely bounded rationality, the way everything is trying to function. We actually think it's fascinating to understand the world around us, and through this understanding, we can see justice functioning as we have in many cases, some of which Sarah had pointed out. In fact, you can break down this quest for knowledge and understanding into really the three types of history. History, journalists will understand that I don't mean what happened 100 years ago, or not only what happened 100 years ago. I mean history circa now, the history that is unfolding all around us. What are the three types? So, type one, the history which is subsidized. There is economic interest in propelling it in commercial. That of course includes all kinds of advertising and propaganda, but it also includes very basic things, such as how to hammer in particular types of nails, how to build a pump, how to buy extremely important information, the one that has an existing industry selling it forth into the world. Type two history, and this is unsubsidized history. History which has lost its economic subsidy, knowledge which is no longer fulfilled in the world but sits there and perhaps slowly decays. That's important to try our best to provide that knowledge, but generally speaking, it's not kept around because people don't find it interesting enough to keep around. And then there's the type three history, and that is the fact that WikiLeaks is involved in, and that I actually been all my adult life, and that is educated history. It is the history where there is an active effort to prevent it entering the world. And this type of history, if we can find it, if we can grab hold of it, if we can link in to civilization and our collective memory, this is a type of history that would not have otherwise existed. And that's true for nearly every document topic. It would not have otherwise existed as something to be discussed by people with different languages or different cultures. A good example of that is, say, the Iraq war logs. That's a rich documentation of the history of the war, and in fact the history of two countries, and it would not have otherwise been included for the people of those countries or the other countries involved in those wars to understand and derive lessons from. So through collecting this type of knowledge, subjugated history, we have built this romantic ideal of a grand level library. That's what WikiLeaks is. A level library, a type of library of Alexandria. I think we probably have more documents in Alexandria, but it is a library that is not like any other library. We have the first moment of we create the world in present, as opposed to copies of other books, which might be interesting, but we're in the quest of trying to find the original documents that have never been seen before and bringing them into our collective knowledge understanding. Okay, so Sarah has spoken about some of the technical details and a bit about practical history. I want to speak now about some of the things we're doing going forward for the future WikiLeaks. Well, I noticed, I've seen the internet and understand that there's enormous expectation in the United States. Part of that expectation is partly answered, but you can understand that if we're going to make a major publication in relation to the United States at a particular hour, we don't do it at 3 a.m. That's something great. So we have a great many upcoming publications. WikiLeaks has grown into a relatively strong position. We're a publishing organization that has no debts, has never had to fire anyone, is entirely funded by our readers, has succeeded in every litigation it's been involved in. I think that puts us in an enviable position of being completely independent, not being dependent on dodgy foundations or advertisers or state funds or exceedingly wealthy benefactors, which of course always have their own issues. But nonetheless, the material that WikiLeaks is going to publish before the end of the year is of a significant moment, such a significant moment in different directions, affecting three powerful organizations in 3 different states, as well as, of course, information previously referred to about the US election process. But WikiLeaks needs to change in order to survive and thrive through the next few months. Now, why we have been growing, and while we are in a position to, and I expect to be able to build up to about 100 additional journalistic staff for the next 2 years, we are going to need an army. Not an army, of course, engaged in physical hostility, but we are going to need an army to defend us from the pressure that is already starting to rise. That pressure has been placed on a number of elements of the process that has been placed in one way or another on the state that has courageously given the assignment. It will not succeed. There will be consequences for it. If necessary, of course, if I am not able to continue, or the Ecuadorian people are unreasonably blamed for WikiLeaks publications, I will have to resign as editor, but our publications will be. But part of the necessary defense of WikiLeaks, we have engaged in a new project to recruit people across the world to defend our publication. And we'll give details of that as the weeks go by, but immediately you can start following on Twitter WL Task Force, at WL Task Force, or twitter.com/WL Task Force, and Community WL. Follow those, and we will issue guidelines about how you can promote WikiLeaks publications without censorship. And we will also give, if necessary, effective call to arms if the pressure increases a lot more than it already has, which I expect almost certainly that it will. What else? The funding model of FAS is a very interesting model. FAS is a German newspaper, and it's something that we have been working on for a while. WikiLeaks will soon launch a membership system where we will give voting rights in relation to 20% of the discretionary expenditure. We have, it's important to keep us independent and keep a sustained and predictable income as opposed to significant income coming from the times publication, but in the times of between publications there is extensive litigation. Then the funding is more unpredictable, which is a difficult position to be in if you're in the middle of litigation. Okay, on upcoming journalism, because we have so many publications due for the end of the year.
No, it's insane. We've only just started properly uploading videos to Twitter, which is...
Yeah, it cut me off for a minute. I'm back on now, though. I wasn't worrying about it at first.
I think that they haven't realised it yet, Alex. I mean, I get, 300,000 followers on Twitter. That's the current level of it. And, 165 million impressions. I get more impressions than celebrities with 10 million Twitter followers.
Oh, that's the thing. They put together these huge Hollywood-produced deals with like 30 stars on YouTube with full YouTube push. It gets 100,000, 90% downvotes. We do nothing about a video. It gets 1 million. I mean, I'll cut 4 or 5 videos in a week and they'll get like 2 or 3 million views conservatively. And I'm just shooting it at my house.
Nah.
And then they have all these stars and everyone saying we hate you.
Nah.
And it's, again, we're not bragging. I'll give you another example. One of these never-Trumpers, Louise Mensch, writes an article saying that I'm in control, Cause is controlling the Putin troll bots. It gets 5 comments in 24 hours. This is on quite a big website. 5 comments in 24 hours. The article this morning,
say word for word, and Japanese TV, and all the others, and online talk radio in Congress, because we know what they're talking about. We broke Benghazi first. We broke it all first. It's not that the Russians take their orders. They know the truth when they hear it. We're kicking your ass up one side and down the other, you little arrogant, pencil-neck, establishment, fake liberal, fascist dirtbags.
Exactly. I mean, another part of it is they're very lazy. I mean, we instantaneously react to news. We're able to get on top of it straight away.
We're 18 hours a day, literally fun with the mouth. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. But, I mean, talking about Russia, you've then got comments by the former Prime Minister of Sweden, Carl Bildt, who put out this tweet which he claimed that Russia Today got the WikiLeaks before WikiLeaks published them, simply because they tweeted, for example, about Podesta email part 17 before WikiLeaks released it on Twitter or tweeted about it on Twitter. He said, quote, really impressive by Russian state media to report on WikiLeaks releases before they are released. Contacts count. Now, of course, the Podesta emails are released on WikiLeaks' website way before they actually tweet it out. That's how RT is able to put out that story, because they sit
actually on top of it,
refreshing the website to get on the story first. We're not lazy, you are. That's why we're kicking your ass, and they're not happy about it.
Wow, this is biblical. All right, well, I said I'm late taking over. It's just great to talk to you, Paul. Man, hold Paul's gets you on air with us. What else is going on in the next 35 minutes? And what are your big concerns? Because, I mean, let me tell you, they're desperate. They want to be the heroes. I smell false flag. I smell them stealing the election, blowing something up, blaming it on us. I mean, I just see nastiness. I see the preparation to want to shut down the media. I think they're going to go all in. They're either going to back off and realize that they can't stop us and try to just sabotage us, or they're going to go all in, Paul.
I think the only guarantee is you will see riots after the election if Trump wins. I mean, that's the guarantee, isn't it? Now that we know, again, that whole thing about, oh, Trump's rhetoric is responsible for violence in his own rallies.
No.
Don't you dare say anything.
I'll stop it right here to say this to those that's listening. If Hillary's side wants to riot, fuck them. Let them riot. All the people that voted for Trump, go the fuck home. Soon as they win, don't come out your fucking house. None of that shit. Let Hillary Clinton people riot. Because believe it or not, the smart motherfuckers that's in that bullshit ain't gonna risk their life if they not paid for that shit. But the ones that's paid to risk their life in the start, the mayhem, the conflict, those are the motherfuckers that's being paid by the government. So, all of you assholes that voted for Hillary Clinton, when she lose, don't go rioting. Don't be the stupid asshole that you was for voting for the stupid bitch. And all the ones that's voting for Donald Trump, don't go outside. Because they looking for you. So don't go antagonizing the motherfuckers that lost. And vice versa. Because if Hillary Clinton win, we going to war. If Donald Trump win, it's not likely for us to go to war. But Hillary Clinton and Obama will try the New World Order bullshit by causing the chaos with the people, going against the people. But like I said again, Hillary Clinton's people is not a lot of people. So therefore, anybody that's with Hillary Clinton's people is there being paid to be with Hillary Clinton's people. And they want the mayhem. They want the destruction. They want the violence. Think about it, people. Anybody that wants violence is getting paid to be violent. They ain't just being violent. Believe that. Because in this day and age, to get hurt and have to pay to see a doctor is the bullshit for why did you get hurt. It is what it is.
No one else is responsible. That's a conspiracy theory. O'Keefe video completely debunked. They funded it. They arranged it.
And we have WikiLeaks on top of it, not just O'Keefe. We have the WikiLeaks that couple with it.
Exactly. So that's proven. They fund, they arrange violence against Trump, against his supporters. That's why you see graffiti daubed everywhere, Republican HQs being firebombed That's what you're going to see if Trump wins. That's the only guarantee.
All because he doesn't want to start a war with someone doing nothing
Nah,
to us.
nah,
Because he's a
nah.
good person.
Because you're a good person.
Well, I mean, that's the problem. While, Russians are being told where to find their nearest nuclear bunker, Americans are being told to obsess about some ex-porn star who says that Trump asked for her.
Yeah, man.
Just coincidentally,
They fucking over us, people. They gonna make this false flag war again. As usual, we always do it. Until the people stand up to this bullshit, we as the people gonna get fucked in this shit.
Holocaust and World War III if Hillary Clinton is elected. So again, that's the split.
And then they spin it and claim Trump's going to cause World War III.
Yeah, exactly. But the riots will only happen if Trump wins, because those are the people who riot. Those are the people who are paid to riot by the DNC, by Hillary Clinton's.
Well, I want to say this. We have proof Soros is funding it in the emails. We already had proof. We have proof she's doing it. We need to start seeing grand juries grow up, not be cowards at the state level. Democrats do this all the time, and start indicting people. I mean, we need to start indictments now. And I don't want to hear it, oh, it's too dangerous. I'm sticking my neck way out here, folks.
Come on, man. Yeah, this man, you come on, man. I stop it right here to say this here. A lot of you sons of bitches say that y'all are men. Y'all a bunch of bitches. You dig? I can say one thing about Alex Jones, that dude that putting his motherfucking neck out. Me, myself, man, fuck the elite. They can kiss my fucking ass because y'all done showed me exactly how y'all feel about me by muting some shit that I put together to say that I can't read or write. But I can speak now because the divine gave me the mind to change this shit from right to straight. Because all this is bullshit. So like I said again, all you so-called men, you know who you are. When are you going to be a man and not be no bullshit, pussy ass, half a nigga that just want to fuck women over and not have one? I'm just saying. When are you going to be that man that's going to stand up to say that I know what I was created for? To be the better half to my better half, which is that woman. I'm just saying. It is what it is when you look at the bullshit that you was taught to believe in this bullshit. And now the bullshit is starting to unravel. But some of y'all stupid motherfuckers wants to hold on to the bullshit. That is what it is right there. You dumb son bitch. You're stupid if you're voting for Hillary. I say it like this. You're stupid for voting for Hillary. I wouldn't vote for neither one of them. But if you're voting for Hillary, you're stupid. Now, if you're voting for Trump, you're thinking that it's a possibility that we got to change. Because it is. But I still say it's two of the worst evils. Both of the bitches evil. But I wouldn't vote for Hillary. Just as well I wouldn't vote for Trump. But if I had to vote, if my life depended on it, fuck that, I'd vote for Trump. Fuck that bitch. Because that bitch is a man in a woman's body. Because she's a carpet muncher. So therefore, just like Obama is gay. So it's the carpet muncher and the gay. So it's like the elite and got the people that they want to be in office. They got the fake ass black man, which is a gay man, so it ain't no man. And then you got the woman, which is not a woman, it's a man trapped in a woman's body. And then you got all the line with the motherfucking big business, big bank. All them sons of bitches is in this shit together. Even the one that's creating your fucking food is against you. The FDA is against you. It's like everybody that's high up is against the people really living. Because these bitches wants to go to war. And we close to it. All because of these evil bitches. These bitches been evil since they fucking funky number fucking one, war number one. It was false flag. Because when you think about it, they see war as making money. And they see us as casualty to war. Fuck you and your casualty to war. Because that's too easy of a fucking word to use. Casualty to war. That's a human being here that's dead now. That's not here anymore. They're in the ground. But if they wasn't straight in their life, the eternal life is righteous and straight. But if they wasn't, it's turmoil in the hell that they thought that they was to go to here while they were living on earth is the hell that they're gonna be in mentally in eternal life. When they come back as the shit that they put out, they're gonna come back as something that handles shit. So they're gonna come out as a maggot, a fly, a gnat. They're gonna come back as annoying shit that shits on shit. They're gonna gag in it, they're gonna throw up in it, they're gonna eat it, they're gonna have all that the shit that they put out, they're getting back in the circle of their end life again. Because you're eternal, baby. You coming back here again. But how you come back here is with straight. I'm just saying. I died to know what I'm talking about. Y'all just believe in what somebody else is saying. Y'all believe in what someone else told y'all to believe in. Y'all never was taught to believe in yourself. You was never taught that the love, which is the original creator, which is that unconditional loving that you feel to know that you're real and not have to believe in some bullshit, is the creator of you. The creativity in you is the creator of you. That spark before the smoke of fire. That unconditional love that you could never explain or understand is the reason why you're alive. You was created to be a creator too. You was created to love in the creator's name, love. And you was created to make and create things from the creator's name of love for everybody in the world to enjoy for free, because peace is loving straight.
The other narrative they've got going is, Barack Obama, Trump's whining about the rigged election. Well, first up, there's a new poll which shows that only 4 in 10 Americans are confident that there won't be election fraud. So Obama's accusing the majority 60%. Of the population of the country of whining. Secondly, there's a new study that came out. They studied coverage on ABC, CBS, and NBC Evening News from the 29th of July to October 20, categorizing how many minutes they spent on each topic. 91% of television coverage from those dates on ABC, CBS, and NBC Evening News was negative, was hostile. 91% of coverage was hostile about Donald Trump. They broke it down. Controversies involving Trump. 440 minutes spent on those controversies. Controversies involving Hillary Clinton. Only 185 minutes, less than half. Proof positive of rigged media by the numbers, not by Trump whining. You can look at the coverage of Trump's alleged sexist behavior compared to Bill Clinton's. A 15-1 disparity on those network news shows.
Which basically means total blackout, but it's not working, so what do?
Well, I mean, we'll see if it worked. They did a poll which found that 55% thought the media's coverage had been biased against Trump. It should be way more than that. So as I said, unfortunately, you've got a lot of weak-minded, stupid people who still...
Sure, but isn't the cherry on top? Obamacare has already doubled premiums on average. Now the 25% increase is supposed to be free. I mean, can't their constituents really grow up and realize...
Now they ain't gonna grow up, man. The people are stuck on stupid and don't want to be straight because they see that straight is gonna show them how stupid they really are about a lot of shit that they should be straight about. A lot of people are just going by what they was taught to go by because they're not even looking at the Bible for what the Bible really is, because they believe in the bullshit, because they would really believe in God and the Jesus like they do. Yes, like they do. They'll see. If their eyes was open to what they believe in and not just believing in what they was taught to believe in, they'll see that the shit don't make no fucking sense. They'll see that the Bible said, as a child, you think as a child and you play with childish things. They got some adults that still believe in Christmas and telling their lies to their children. That's stupid. You are going in the norm with everybody else that's lying to their children. Why are you lying to the children about something as simple as Christmas, Easter, and Halloween. I don't even see how y'all going out on Halloween knowing what Halloween stands for and knowing what dirty shit that people is doing to children. You stupid. You're putting your children in harm's way for some free fucking candy. The shit that's not good anyway. And you should know that. So I say to all of you out there that taking your kids fucking taking your kids to this Halloween bullshit, you're stupid. You're dumb. You're an asshole. You getting your kids sugar. You giving your kids all the shit that's not healthy for them. Oh, they just kids. Fuck you. You turn your kid into you, a asshole. So your best out is to not allow your kid to go out for some goddamn Halloween. Because then you gotta search the fucking candy, which is the bullshit. They ain't getting no fruits. And then if you got a fruit, there's a possibility you might have some kind of razor in it, a needle in it. You need to get your own food. Stop all this bullshit. Because this world is not for you. This world is for the elite and the bullshit that they doing. But we, the people, have to come together as the people, as smart people, and not dumb puppets, sheeple, like these motherfuckers got y'all, as y'all calling y'all self-conscious thinking people. Y'all a bunch of assholes.
Well, again, it's this idea of they're losing their power, they're losing their influence, but they still have a unified narrative. So they all report the same thing on the evening news with the same spin, the same smear.
It's a cult.
Yeah, but that's going to wash away increasingly. And now they've been
we can replace all the fucking news and go straight to motherfucking internet. After we replace the motherfucker that started the internet, that wants to live there and put handcuffs on the internet, get rid of them bitches too, and start our own internet, the people's internet. Fuck a YouTube, fuck a Facebook, make it the people's book. You dig? Make it the people's YouTube. You dig? Instead of those elites YouTube and the elites Facebook.
It's horrible. It's like, what? I mean, this is crazy town. And it's not like I'm being holier than thou. Oh my gosh, this is racist stuff. I mean, I've never heard that except from scum. It's like this woman is super powerful. She claims she loves these people. They love her, and then she hates them. I mean, how do you hate people that love you? I don't get it.
Because she's a sociopath and she has extreme difficulty in connecting to other human beings.
You take over, Paul. You gotta come on the show more. It's always great to have Paul Watson from Infowars.com. He's taking over. I'm punching out now the news tonight, 7 o'clock Central. Let's support the broadcast, 25% off the Great Nootropic Rainforest, InfoWarsStore.com, and the new film, The Climate Hustle, now available, InfoWarsStore.com. We need the funding. God bless you all.
Like I said again, we live in some bullshit times, people. I'm gonna get there and throw this other part of Alex Jones on. But I ain't gonna do that. We can get 2 hours. The truth is the truth. Period. Fuck all the bullshit. Alex Jones, keep up the good work, partner. And I say to all you out there, the truth is not being, it's not being put out like it's supposed to. Because I say this, what happened to me March the 5th, 2013, August 27, 2013, and then recently, 4 years ago, 4 times in 1 month, and now to have the situation that I'm having with doctors playing with my medication, doctors tell me I'm HIV positive and I'm not, doctors wanting to take me into surgery so they can get paid. I'm nothing but a piggy bank rolling when I go into the emergency room, because the first thing the doctors are thinking to themselves is what they can take out of me or what could they put in to me. But ain't none of them is thinking about what's best for me, because all of them getting paid to fuck over me. And that's with all the fucking doctors. I'm not going to lay up there and say it's some of them, because I don't know none of them. Nah. So I ain't going to say it's some of them. I'm going to say it's all other motherfuckers that I done came across. I done saw that now doctor that I done came across really cared about the bottom line being me being healthy. Because every doctor I came across feel like the solution is the medication. And that's the bullshit. I'm Mr. Glasses. The truth is the truth. Fuck all the bullshit. Period.